Now, former President Jacob Zuma's son, Duduzane, has taken the stand in his culpable homicide trial in the Randburg Magistrates Court. He expressed his sympathies for the families affected by an accident in 2014 when his Porsche hit a minibus taxi.
Well, Duduzane Zuma told the court he'd been driving from Fourways to Saxonwold in Johannesburg when the crash occurred in wet weather. He said he'd been travelling at 120 kilometers an hour on the highway, but had reduced his speed when it started raining. But he couldn't say at what speed he'd been driving moments before the fatal crash. He said he'd held onto the steering wheel as his car spun until it eventually came to a halt. Well, the case has been postponed to tomorrow because of problems with the court recording equipment.
All right, let's discuss with the reporter on the story, Sibongile Mkani-Mpolweni. Thank you for being with us, Sibongile. So tell us more about this expression of sympathy. I mean, somebody died here. Just how did he begin?
Well, he was asked during evidence in chief when he was led by his defense advocate how he feels about the crash. And he said that it was very unfortunate. It was unfortunate. He felt sympathy for everyone who was there, and it was something that he did not plan and that it was highly impossible for him to avoid.
Somebody else has said he was speeding. So he's sticking to 120. That would mean he was not speeding because this accident happened on a highway.
He says he was driving at 120 when he came off the William Nicol to join the highway from Fourways, but when he was about to hit Greyston, he slowed down because it started to rain heavily, and he says that he's not sure at what speed exactly he was traveling at because he had slowed down, but he's assuming that he might have been between 90 and 100.
So he disputes any insinuation that he was speeding when this accident happened?
Yes, he disputes that, and he's pleaded not guilty on both the culpable homicide and the reckless and negligent.
And did he talk about the Porsche, the turbo, the aquaplaning, the problem with this specific car that his lawyers brought up to try and have the entire case dismissed previously, but that didn't work, of course? The only thing he said about that was that he was not aware that his car had that feature, that the one that detects the water and is safer when you're driving through water. That I just forgot the name now, it escapes me, but he said that he was not aware that it had that feature, even though he had been driving the car when he bought it since 2011. So he was driving from Fourways to Saxonwold. He wasn't visiting the Guptas.
He said he was driving home.
Okay. Because of course there's another case that he's involved in involving the Guptas. That case was indefinitely postponed. But tell us the mood. We've seen his father supporting him in court before, claims that this is politically motivated even. Did he have a lot of supporters in the court today?
His father was not there today, and PLF members that are usually there in groups, there were just about 3 or 4 guys from the PLF supporting him, together with the deputy president of PLF, the lady.
And what about the family of the woman who died?
The families were there. Of course, now they can't talk to the media. We can only talk to them through AfriForum. So they were there, seated there in the gallery.
So they have legal representation. They don't want to engage directly. Are they showing any emotions in court?
No emotion at all. They just sat there still watching proceedings as Duduzane was testifying, and even during cross-examination. And when the court was adjourned because of that faulty recording device, they just stood up and left.
Tell us about the faulty equipment, and does this continue tomorrow? What happens now?
Yes, what happened is that when we got to court this morning, there was no power. So the power outage affected the recording device, which is the stenographer machine, which records the court proceedings. And during the Duduzane's testimony, the machine would just switch off and not record. So we stopped for about 2 times, and then they eventually decided that no, let's call in technicians to come and fix this problem once and for all, so that tomorrow morning they are starting at 8:30 to cover the lost time. The cross-examination continues.
And finally, in your opinion, was he convincing today, Sibongile?
Well, when he spoke about the sympathy, he was convincing, because it's not something that, it's not the first time that he's said this. Even before, when during the inquest, he did offer his condolences and said that if he could turn back the time, he would do it, and maybe things would be differently. He regrets that someone died because of a crash that he was involved in.
All right, Sibongile Mkani-Mpolweni, thank you very much. And you'll be following that case for us. We'll continue to cover Duduzane Zuma's trial, facing charges of culpable homicide and reckless driving.